Knocked out into Altaria, pretty neutral. We do want to switch out into one of our B types, so we're going to throw 7 wing attacks and catch the Sky Attack on Registeel. So, welcome back to what we usually would say is the home of Shadow Pokemon, but today we are doing something a bit different. We are going to be talking about how to use an ABB team. So you can see we're using Noctowl, Double Steel. So for those of you that don't know what an ABB team is, you have an A Pokemon that beats the counters for your 2 B types. B types are usually something that share a dual weakness. So in this case, the thing we need to avoid is something like a Swampert or a Fighter. Noctowl, not the best response. I would usually say Pelipper would be better. However, I was using my nephew's account and he doesn't really have too many Pokemon to choose from. It is a level 34 account. So we're just going to make do. And without any further ado, let's get into the battle. So in game 1, we see Noctowl into Stunfisk. You saw the opponent through straight away on 5. So I was banking that they are going to be spamming out the Rock Slide. I pivot into the big Tin Can and we catch Rock Slide. Number 2. Stunfisk is often paired with things like Trevenant, so we are going to look to pivot and try and draw it out. The opponent stays in. We fire the Focus Blast off before what could be an Earthquake. I've got shield advantage. I'm more than happy to let Registeel go down. The opponent goes for the world's worst bait and my huge cojones. Call the bait. The opponent now switches out into Pelipper. My god, this is going to be a sacrifice Pelipper. Are you ready for the Zap Cannon? They are not. Pelipper gets absolutely nuked. Back to its Pokeball. The Flying Toilet was looking to catch a Focus Blast, however they caught a Zap Cannon to the face, back out. Comes Galarian Stunfisk, the opponent does now fire off the Earthquake, we have shield advantage. I can now come in with my own Stunfisk. The opponent builds up to what could be an Earthquake, and I am going to respect it. The opponent full sends the Earthquake. We've seen they've attempted to make a catch in the past. No catch comes. I fire off the Earthquake. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. Down goes Stunfisk, and it is a Sableye. In the back, this game is pretty much over. There's no point in baiting #NoBait on this channel. I full send the Earthquake. Sableye is now deep into the yellow. We've almost got the back-to-back Sky Attacks locked and loaded. First Sky Attack draws the shield. Second Sky Attack is going to be all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on into battle number 2. Another fairly neutral matchup. We are obviously going to look to pivot out to try and draw out that Fighter or a Swampert that Skarmory is normally paired with. So stay in school, kids. Learn to count its 5 air slashes to the Sky Attack, and we successfully catch on Registeel. To my absolute surprise, the opponent is staying in. They're going to fire off Sky Attack. Number 2, Registeel, far too thick. The opponent does send another Sky Attack. We throw in the middle of the air slash animation and full send the Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon draws a shield from the opponent. I've got no idea why they're staying in, but the opponent is choosing to stay in. We're just not going to shield anything whatsoever. The next Sky Attack still has Registeel, despite my garbage IVs looking relatively healthy. We send Zap Cannon. Number 2, I go for an undercharge, but it still knocks out Skarmory. It now becomes quite apparent why the opponent stayed in. They send out Altaria. They must be triple weak. To Registeel, I commit to the Zap Cannon. My potato IVs get farmed down, but Stunfisk, a pretty good wall to all of this energy. They fire off the Sky Attack. Stunfisk shrugs it off. I'm going to go for the Rock Slide. Let's see if the opponent is willing to commit that final shield. Yes, they are. The opponent now looks to pivot out into a Azumarill, and this is where all that banked energy comes in. Absolutely clutch. So now we're going to talk about fast move timing. I'm on a 2-turn move wing attack. They're on 3-turn bubble, so you can see we want to throw out 1, 4 or 7. I am going to shield with the Ice Beam. I'm then going to throw 4 more wing attacks and the next Sky Attack. So we're only giving away 1 free turn. Azumarill is 2 bubbles away from the next charge move, so I'm going to throw 3. Look to CMP, which we do. This Sky Attack is going to take care of Azumarill, and to be honest, the opponent may as well top left. This game is absolutely over. They send out Altaria. We can chip it with a Sky Attack. I don't know what the opponent is thinking. Unless they have a heart attack mid-battle, there is no way they can win. I bring in the Pancake. Fire off the Rock Slide. Rock Slide isn't going to quite KO, but we can actually mod shot down a Flyer. Everything in Altaria's arsenal is resisted, so we're not going to shield, and we're going to save that shield for next season. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on into the next one, we see Altaria in the lead at 7.5 seconds. To the Sky Attack to throw 7 wing attacks. Pivot out into the Tin Can to look to catch the move. We catch the resisted Sky Attack on our Registeel, and the ABB strategy has worked fantastically. We draw out a Unova Stunfisk, aka the Pancake. The Pancake actually beats the entirety of our team. Not fantastic team building on my part, but this is pretty much where we want to see it. We tank the Mud Bomb. Return fire with the Focus Blast. This next Mud Bomb is going to knock out, and I am going to have to come back in to Noctowl. Obviously Noctowl doesn't have the best matchup here, but as I caught the Sky Attack, I do have a load of residual energy, good to go. So this is also why you always need to pivot when you're running these sort of teams. If you see a core breaker, that bank energy can help get rid of it. We fire off the Shadow Ball, the opponent probably realizing we are super weak to this thing. I don't need to shield the discharge. Noctowl, pretty thick discharge, gets us fairly low. We are going to CMP tie to the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball will be more than enough to knock out, and I'm now really hoping Stunfisk can clean up this game. I come in to Stunfisk, the opponent throws 4 Dragon Breaths, so they're now 5 seconds away, or 5 Mud Shots to the next charge move if I should need to catch later. I fire off the Earthquake Azu, super thick, shows no respect. The opponent is building up to what could be a Hydro Pump. I've got 2 shields, there's no point in letting any move go through. Even Ice Beam, which is only neutral, will do far more than Altaria can do to us. We full send Earthquake, number 2, and the opponent looks like they're saving that shield. For the Altaria, we are going to commit our final shield here. I'm going to go all the way for a Mud Shot farm, and you can see Stunfisk is running out of HP, so I'm going to throw the 5 Mud Shots, look to catch the Sky Attack, and just like that, we have a wink on. The opponent is going to undercharge. They are going to get to Dragon Breath, farm down our Noctowl, but the additional wing attack damage is fairly nice. I come in, I throw the Rock Slide. The opponent still has a shield, so they let the first go through. We need to get towards the back-to-back. The opponent is going to throw a Sky Attack. Stunfisk, I believe in you, you little fucking bear trap. We tank the Sky Attack on the chin. We're at the back-to-back. Does Stunfisk survive on 1 HP? And a dream. That Dragon Breath, of fucking course we do, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. And this is why I say, kids, stay in school, learn to count, because it does come in clutch. Moving on into the next battle, we see Powder Snow, Alolan Ninetales. I look to catch the Weather Ball on my Tin Can. We again built up some energy on Noctowl in case we see a core breaker in the back. The opponent now sends out Scrafty, pretty dreadful for the Tin Can. The opponent is going to fire up the Power Up Punch. I'm really hoping I make 2 moves here. Focus Blast would be probably one shot, and I don't know, I've never used Registeel, but we're going to go for a Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon draws a shield. I don't know if I got the attack drop. I can't see as I'm shoutcasting on my phone, but I don't really care. The opponent fires off Power Up Punch number 2, and unfortunately we get farmed all the way down. However, Noctowl, a pretty good response for this fighter that needs to pull its trousers up, called Scrafty. We don't need to shield up anything. If they foul play, it will hurt. It's just a Power Up Punch. I'm going to overfarm, fire off the Sky Attack. Sky Attack should be knocking out, and we've actually drawn out the hardest counter for our Stunfisk. Unless they're on double counter, the opponent makes a savage catch, catching the move on the Ninetales, but anything the opponent can do, I can do as well. I pivot out into my Galarian Stunfisk. The opponent is definitely in Rock Slide range. There's no point in throwing it as soon as I get it, as the opponent would come in and just farm us all the way down. So I actually choose to commit a shield here, as I need to start shielding something. I go for the Rock Slide and an Undercharge. I'd like to leave with an Earthquake if possible. The Undercharge is a beauty. We're not far off the Earthquake. Out comes Scrafty. This is just a Power Up Punch. We are going to survive it, and let's see where the opponent wants to spend that final shield. There's no baits. There's no point in throwing a resisted Rock Slide, so I go straight for the Earthquake. The opponent shields it up, and wham bam combo play. We've got the Sky Attack locked and loaded. This gets rid of Scrafty, and what is that final Pokemon? Is there something we can beat? Probably not, as it's a bear trap. I am going to fire off the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball does respectable damage. The opponent is farming up a boatload of energy. Shadow Ball isn't going to knock out. From this range, I'm going to attempt to make an Earthquake on my bear trap with my absolute potato IVs. Can we survive the moves? This is just a Rock Slide, but I am going to shield up anyway. I believe I am going to get outpaced by 1 move. You can see we do fall just short, and we take a loss. Interestingly enough, the opponent was also double weak to counter in the back. Moving on to the next one. We see Lanturn in the lead, dreadful for Noctowl, an immediate pivot into the Tin Can. The opponent is staying in, so they're probably going to look to chip and dip. They go straight for the Surf. The big Tin Can, super thick. We tank the Surf. I am worried the opponent is going to look to catch, and that is exactly what they do. So I patiently hold my energy, and I'm going to full send the Focus Blast against this Nidoqueen. Focus Blast is the way to go, as it is just single resisted, whereas Zap Cannon would be double resisted due to ground, double resisting electric, and poison only single resisting fighting. So the opponent let me land the second Focus Blast, and I see an opportunity to flip switch. We correctly shield up the Earth Power. I'm really hoping to lock on down before the next one. I can't make it, so I am going to send 1 more Focus Blast. The opponent chose to shield it up They're definitely in lock-on farm down range now. Even if they bait me, they won't make the Earth Power. They correctly full send the Earth Power, and just like that, Registeel is a Nidoqueen counter, confirmed. Let's see what the opponent wants to come back into. They come back in to Lanturn. They are going to fire off the Surf immediately. Surf isn't going to knock out. Can we make the Zap? Yes, we can. Zap Cannon is neutral due to water taking super effective and electric resisting electric. We get the last shield. We're now sitting in a pretty good spot considering we had the worst lead you could possibly see. We're now the ones that are double resisting the fast move. Spark doing absolutely nothing. Surf is hitting us for super effective. We are going to survive the next Surf, and then we're going to have to make sure the opponent doesn't catch the EQ. The opponent did attempt the catch, and it is Drapion in the back, so I send out Noctowl just to get some use out of it. Crunch isn't going to do too much damage. Noctowl is going to survive too. I am going to farm up. Throw the Sky Attack. Sky Attack isn't going to knock out Drapion. I just want to put this Drapion in a range where I can farm it down. The opponent lets me get to another move on CMP. I don't want the Lanturn to come in and spark me down, so I'm just going to hit hardly any bubbles. I'm actually going to hit no bubbles. We need to get this thing to dump some energy. The opponent is farming up. I stop tapping. We take it out on 1 HP. And a Dream, 1 spark takes us out, and we've got the Earthquake locked and loaded, and despite a terrible lead, we win that game. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle. We see Galarian Stunfisk in the lead, thanks to swag tips. People do believe Noctowl can beat Stunfisk in certain scenarios. I don't believe this absolute potato IV is one that has that break point. I don't know, I just use whatever my nephew had. But either way, we catch the second Rock Slide on our Registeel. As always, we are looking to draw out some sort of counter like a Trevenant, Swampert or a Metachan. The opponent is staying in. We CMP to the charge move. I'm going to look to get some shields down, so I'm going to shield up the Earthquake, return fire with the Focus Blast. Focus Blast doesn't one-shot from full health. We've done some lock-on damage and the wing attack damage. We do manage to get the knockout. The opponent now sends out Froslass. This is pretty scary for our team. Shadow Ball won't quite knock out. The opponent full sends the Shadow Ball. I'm really hoping the big Tin Can doesn't get Powder Snowed down. We send the Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon goes unshielded. Holy smokes, what is the opponent saving them shields for? The opponent looks to Powder Snow farm us all the way down, but Registeel says, fuck you. We make the Focus Blast. The opponent does shield up. We bring in the Bear Trap as a damage sponge. The opponent is going to fire off the Avalanche. Avalanche doesn't do too much and then switch out into a Azumarill, so we enter the arena with our loaded Owl. We fire off the Sky Attack, and again we need to throw at 1, 4 or 7 as I've got so much energy. I go for 1 Wing Attack and the Sky Attack. Sky Attack gets Azu pretty low. This is a tough decision to make, but I think I'm going to invest my final shield in the Owl. I'm going to continue to overfarm. We're going to need to leave as healthy as possible so we don't get Powder Snow farm down. I fire off the Sky Attack. Azumarill commits its final shield as Froslass is running out of HP. They're 2 bubbles away from the next Ice Beam, but we're only 3 wing attacks away. We win the charge move, priority event, and that is pretty much going to seal the fate of the opponent. I switch out into Stunfisk, and the opponent concedes the match. Moving on to the next one. We pick up a great lead. The opponent safe switches into Stunfisk, and I'm going to choose to come in to the Tin Can because I know we do comfortably tank an Earthquake, and I can guarantee shield advantage with the Focus Blast. The opponent isn't baiting. We survive. We're now going to return fire with the Focus Blast. This should be getting a shield off the opponent, which it does. I'm really hoping we don't get Mudshot farmed all the way down. The opponent does Mudshot us down as we reach the blast. You hate to see it, so apparently IVs do matter. We're now in a bit of a tricky spot. I send in Stunfisk. I'm going to call the bait, and the opponent does throw the Rock Slide. You love to see it. The opponent now gives up switch. I'm going to bank a boatload of energy, pivot out into the Owl. Due to our normal flying typing, Shadow Ball is double resisted due to normal, double resisting Ghost, and Seed Bomb is going to be single resisted due to flying resisting Grass. So essentially, the play here is just going to be to farm it down. Well, I don't think it is quite possible, but I might attempt it. We could throw a no bubble Sky Attack to get this matchup to go a bit quicker, but it looks like I'm pretty happy going for the Wing Attack farm down. The opponent is going to make 1 more charge move, but Noctowl still doesn't need to shield. We are going to leave at 100 energy, and we are not in Mudshot farm down range. So I'm looking top right, trying to see what they come into. They come in to the Stunfisk that did have a rock slide banked. So again, I pivot out into Stunfisk. That is 2 rock slide catches in a row. You absolutely love to see it. The opponent now sends out Swampert, which is usually a pretty good bear trap answer. However, not when we've got an Earthquake banked and shield advantage. I'm just going to shield up absolutely everything. The opponent is going to spam out Hydro Cannon after Hydro Cannon, but we should be in a pretty good spot. This Earthquake is going to land. Swampert now deep in the red. They're going to have to make back-to-back charge moves. They aren't going to do it. We are going to commit our final shield commit to the Mud Shot farm down, and when the bear trap does survive, it's going to eat an Earthquake to the face, and that is all she wrote. Moving on to the next one. We see the knockdown mirror, so I'm going to look to pivot out at some stage. I'm trying to get a feel of when the opponent throws their move, they actually choose to pivot. So I wonder if they're also running double steal. Wouldn't that be funny? The opponent is going to send the Earthquake. I'm just going to look for shield advantage. Earthquake does land and we return fire with the Focus Blast. I imagine the opponent is going to shield. Let's find out. They do commit a shield. I wonder if we make the second Focus Blast this time, the opponent is just going to choose to dump a rock slide, not wanting to take that risk, and that's pretty good for me. We can now enter the mirror and look to get ahead on energy. Stunfisk does have a bit of residual, so I'm going to have to be mindful of the Earthquake. I'm really hoping this opponent isn't a master beta, so I'm going to shield up what could be an Earthquake, and the opponent does full send it and now pivot out into Sableye. I'm going to send the Earthquake and then look to catch the foul play. On knockdown, it takes 6 Shadow Claws to the first foul play, and the opponent throws it as soon as they get it, and we make a great catch. So Sableye counts, it takes 6 Shadow Claws for the first, 6 for the second, and 5 for the third foul play. We managed to wing attack farm them all the way down. I'm looking top right. If I see the ground type, I'm going to fire the Shadow Ball. If I obviously see the normal flying type, and I'm going to fire off the Sky Attack. The opponent sends out Stunfisk, we land the Shadow Ball. I am going to fire off the next Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball should be getting the final shield from the opponent or the knockout. The opponent does shield it up. They're getting far too greedy, so I was going to fire off the Sky Attack. The opponent chooses to catch it on knocked out, and I'm pretty happy with this situation. I can now send back out Stunfisk. You can see, due to my potato IVs, we do take a lot of damage from Shadow Ball. However, that does mean we'll probably win CMP, so if this rock slide doesn't knock out, which it don't, we're now in an opportunity where we can probably mud shot this down and leave with an Earthquake, and I'm banking on the fact the opponent probably has better IVs than the trash. You can see on the left we leave with the Earthquake. It is a CMP tie. We win, and that is going to be a good game. GG's, and thanks for playing. So you can see some battles we lose due to bad IVs and some we win. So we see Altaria in the lead again at 7.5 seconds to the Sky Attack, going to throw 7 wing attacks, look to catch, and we do make another successful catch. Apparently Dragon Breath users love to spam out charge moves. The opponent now answers with Dunsparce. Rollout is resisted, however the drill runs are going to chunk. Let's see how much it does. Does a considerable amount, but I do believe we are going to survive the next. We definitely would if we get a Zap Cannon debuff. I don't think we got it there. You hate to see it. However, we did get a shield off the opponent. I'm going to commit 1 shield here and try and put this into a range where we can wing attack farm them all the way down. I over farm and like an absolute noob fire off on CMP, but we should survive this charger in 1 HP and a dream, which we do. So we do manage to get off our move, but don't be a noob like me. We lose CMP to Dunsparce. I think Registeel probably loses most CMPs. I think if you're going to use a team, it's worthwhile having a look on PvPoke and checking out their attack stats, because I get caught out a few times with this team. Noctowl can survive a rock slide, so I'm just going to leave shield advantage Stunfisk and hope it does sweep. With the wing attacks, this next Sky Attack should knock out. If it doesn't, we'll actually get hit with a rock slide, which will be threatening to knock out our Noctowl from this range. They survive on 1 HP and a dream. I don't know what's in the back. I don't really see Dunsparce too often, so I keep our Noctowl in case it's Trevenant, which it isn't. So apparently I should have just saved shield advantage for our bear trap. The opponent fires off the Surf. I am worried they are going to attempt to catch, so I hold my energy. They send back out Altaria, and we do have a lifeline, despite me spending a very pointless shield. So you can see that at this range we are going to survive any 1 move. So I'm going to fire off the rock side, go for an undercharge. We hit just a great. which will allow us to mod shot down. Nothing Altaria can throw will knock us out. And people like to say content creators only show their wins. You're going to see, again, not knowing CMP does bite me in the ass. We do lose CMP. If I knew that before the battle, I would have caught. As you can see on the right, my switch timer was up, but I didn't know. So 2 top tips to take from that battle. Registeel definitely loses CMP to Dunsparce, and Stunfisk loses CMP to Lanturn. I don't know if that's IV dependent actually. I did win a CMP tie against Lanturn earlier, but I think the safe play would have been to go for the catch. So moving on into the final battle of the video, we led Noctowl into a Zoom. I attempted to catch an Ice Beam on my tin can, and the opponent showed great discipline, not throwing. Perhaps they not even got it. I don't know. I don't really care. But the opponent did Hydro Pump us, which did do a lot of damage. We landed the Zap Cannon. The opponent continuing to stay in. They fire off the second Hydro Pump. This now puts them into a range where I can wing attack farm them all the way down, and we're going to leave at close to 100 energy. It looks like they aren't on Ice Beam, as they did fire off the 5th bubble as they got taken out, so perhaps they were running Hydro Pump. In the back, they have Hypno, so 2 turn versus 4 turn. You want to throw in the middle, so throw 1 wing attack and the Shadow Ball. I then throw 3 wing attacks and the Shadow Ball is 4 confusions to the Thunder Punch that all Hypnos do carry. So then I throw 2 more and look to catch the resisted Thunder Punch on our Bear Trap. Let's see if they're on Thunder Punch or Ice Punch. The opponent fires off the Thunder Punch, and they now have a Bomber Snow in the back. Pretty neutral-ish matchup. All the ice type damage is neutral due to our ground typing, and due to their grass typing, they do resist our fast move of Mud Shot, as grass does resist ground. However, rock slide is super effective at a Bomber Snow, especially the non-shadow variant. Does easily tank one. They did originally build up to the energy ball, but they threw a weather ball. We are going to shield this one up, and apparently the opponent is just going to go straight weather ball. I am going to fire off the next rock slide. This should be getting the final shield from the opponent, which it does. This again is just a weather ball, so we are going to survive. I'm already at the move. I think I've already hit it for a CMP, so this should be taking care of a Bomber Snow. Even if the opponent can confusion us down, which they can't as I switch times up, this game would be over. We show them the owl and the opponent concedes. So that was a very different video today. A bit less trash talking, more talk about game mechanics. I went through some typings for you all to learn. Went through a bit of fast move timing and how to use an ABB strategy. So if you enjoy something a bit different on the channel, post it down below and I can make some more of these videos. But if you just prefer the absolute shadow mayhem, let me know and we can get back into that. So content has been pretty thin this weekend or the last few days because it is a Team Rocket event. So all of my time I do invest into grinding Team Rockets because obviously that's all I use in GBL. So I need to take the opportunity to do as many grunts as possible. I've got some fantastic IVs, so in the future you're going to see some new unique shadow content. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button if you're new. Consider subscribing if you've actually been battling over the weekend, especially in the Ultra League, and you're running some spice or some shadows. A link to my Battle Division Wall is down below. I'd just like to say thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next